Hi everyone, this is Xander Breach, and this is my weight loss journey 2, part 24. Before I continue, I must warn you that you should check out the warning video before watching this. Also, please check out season 1 and the first 3 episodes. If you have not done that, I'd recommend you do so or you will be lost. So, just a quick recap of where I left off in part 23. I would have to say I was now leaving the place I was staying at where I was waiting to get into the group home. And now I'm with my adoptive dad and stepmother. So, with that said, I'm now heading to the group home. As we're heading to the group home, I remember my adoptive dad telling me, you know, I was hoping you'd be the one to figure out how to get there yourself instead of us having to come and get you or have them take you there. But no, they had to get us to come and get you, he complained. I remember him also saying that my stepmom vented to him about the fact that I did what I did in part 23. You do remember part 23 where I turned up that song and didn't listen to her. Well, he mentioned that to me and he told me how he had to deal with it. He also said that he hopes I find my own life where I'm moving to. I didn't argue with it because I was hoping the same thing. He mentioned to me that they had to make a stop to go and get gas and maybe some snacks. I was like, okay, I'm fine with that, thinking I still had my Reese's, but I didn't. While we were at the gas station or the place where they needed to get a few things, I offered my stepmom some Reese's. I figured, it's the best I can do. Not trying to be a jerk. And discovered I forgot them. And when I discovered I forgot them, like, man, I'm so sorry I forgot them. But she didn't make a big deal about it because I didn't promise her. And on top of that, at least, they were just Reese's so she can get it anytime she pleased. So my adopted dad comes back from doing what he had to do, and I ended up doing the honors of, let's just say, just staying quiet for a while. And then on we go to Lockhart, Texas, where I was going to be living in the group home. We got there, it was all new for me. And I got there, and the people were nice, the staff was nice. They said, why don't you take a look around? And that's exactly what I did. I looked around and I was like, wow. And at the same day, I was moving in there anyways. So it wasn't like it was a quick visit. That would become my home. After a quick look around and talking to the residential director, which was maybe a guy in his late 30s, early 40s, had a bald spot and a little on the heavy side, you know, we basically sat and talked with him. And he told me that vacation time is over and that the guy that was currently staying still at that house that I was staying in prior to coming to the group home, his vacation time was about to end as well. So I was like, understandable. I knew it was going to come to an end anyways. And I was glad to at least move into a group home where I didn't have to go back to my adoptive dad and stepmom's house or my adoptive sister, which was a bit of a relief if you ask me. So my adoptive dad and stepmom left, and you know, it was just me, myself, and I, and the new roommates I have. The new roommates. Most of the roommates were older than me. So that meant I was now the baby of that group home. One was in his 30s, one was in his 50s, and I think maybe a couple of them were elderly. But at the same time, it gives me a chance to make some new friends and steal wisdom from people who are older than me. A lot of them were a bit on the most of them were on the heavy side. So that meant me, myself and I was probably the only one who was in shape at the time. Two of the staff members was a mother and a daughter. They were a bit on the heavy side, but very nice people. I remember the one that was there, she told me to go ahead and take a shower, and I did. And I come out of the shower and she says, "Finally, someone who's cute here." Yeah, I think there was two daughters, I'm not sure, but finally someone who was cute here. And I'm like, wow, thanks. But I knew nothing was going to happen because you can't mix, your profession with real life. And the way I was going, I was only 20, so I didn't know what to expect. Or you can't mix profession with your emotions or, pleasure. Excuse me, I should have corrected myself on that. So the first night in the group home was awesome, and I ended up enjoying it. But the next morning, even though I got a good sleep, I would soon learn what waking up in the group home was like. As soon as, the lights went on, waking up in the group home, the light was like right in your face, like blaring in your face, that you wake up suddenly. And I think that's why they did that. They wanted us to wake up automatically instead of just shaking us, and it actually worked. It got me up alright, and I had to get used to it because I'm living in this group home now. So we start the day with Saved by the Bell on the TV, getting possibly ready for the day, and considering it was probably the weekend, I was hanging out around the group home. We couldn't go anywhere by ourselves. This place, you had to be supervised everywhere you went. If you weren't supervised, you get written up. So I had to watch myself. But it gave me an opportunity that weekend to meet the staff and to get used to the place. I was listening to whatever I wanted, watching whatever I wanted, and it turned out to be a great weekend, actually. But soon I would learn the many ways of what they do during the week. You see, I met many different staff members who were on shift that time. And most of them, maybe some of them, were the weekend staff. And I met some pretty nice people. These staff members were nice. And I gotta tell you, for someone who's in the learning stage of being in a group home, it turned out really great for me. And in that first month of January, I would enjoy or have a reason to, really loved being in a group home. I had some of the staff members that worked one of them that worked the week shift. She was like, you know, you got mentally abused. And I remember hearing that and I was like, wow, you understand me. And the one thing I would soon enjoy about being in this group home system was the fact of making an allowance. Yep. So after the weekend, even though the allowance would be a short amount of money, but after the weekend, I do recall us having to get our lunches ready prior to what's coming up next. During that weekend, I remember I basically got used to the place. Excuse me for repeating myself. And I do also remember that going into this new place I was going to during the weekdays to give me something to do was going to be new for me. For the month of January, we all went to a place called Workshop. And it's part of the group home system that we all go there. It was mandatory, and we go there to learn things. Learn how to do things, schoolwork, everyday life stuff. We make friends. We lunch there. It was a place for learning. And every morning they'd turn on a song and we'd walk just to wake up and get our exercise in. And I remember going there and I was like thinking, wow, be nice to meet some people my age. And I did. And I also happened that January, maybe a week or two later, possibly, I ran into the guy that I was staying with in the second house. And he made a very big impression on everyone, to tell you the truth. He was labeled as crazy. People labeled him quickly. He started talking the same stuff to me that he talked about. He started talking the same stuff to them that he talked about with me in that home, and people started thinking he was crazy. And it was like, wow. People are saying what was in my head, but I just wanted to be nice about it. So, with them thinking he was crazy, it ended up being that maybe after a few days, he ended up going into a psych ward. He blew it. And that's where he would stay for the remainder of his life. It's sad how some people just can't get the message that you don't talk crazy around people. Because if you do, people won't believe it. Maybe I should have been more honest with them, I don't know. So the last weeks of January turned out really nice. And I began to enjoy the group home I was living in. But soon, I would have a much more reason to enjoy this group home system later down the line. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm just going to let you know straight up. This has been part 24. Y'all take care. And God bless you. Bye.